What's up everybody, Lucas here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to review Nike G.T CUT free. I got these from AIRNESS. You can see their logo here. Also their store logo is right here. They also sent me a pair of the G.T Hustle 2 in this really nice colorway. Let me know if you want a review on these as well. With that being said, big shout out to them. Let's get straight into performance of the G.T CUT free. And of course they're very different shoe compared to the G.T CUT 1, which I have right here, which was an all-time great performer, but a little bit heavy, and the G.T CUT 2, which I labeled to be the most controversial shoe that I've ever tested, because they performed really well for some people, but also horrendously bad for others, including me. I have to say, I didn't like traction performance at first. It has gotten better, but the smear traction pattern, I don't know what it was, but it was just not it, to me at least. A teammate of mine plays with them. He loves them. He's got multiple pairs. I don't know how he can stick to the floor with them. He's got no issues, and also the fit was really painful for me, as they are great for narrow feet, but not as good for wide feet, which I have. And of course, the 1 and 2 featured a drop-in midsole, a React drop-in midsole, and the frees for the first time ever on a hoop shoe feature Zoom X. To be honest, in my opinion, the free feels like the rightful successor to the G.T CUT 1. The 2s a little bit off in this line. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know if you also see it that way, just from comparing them as well. I just feel like the frees fit way better with the ones than the 2s did, and the 2s are kind of the odd one out for performance as well. That's a little bit of a spoiler because these were freaking amazing. Let's start with traction performance. We have a multi-directional herringbone pattern, and it sticks to the floor like crazy. I practiced with them a couple of times already, and every time it was good. Dust pickup is also minimal. You have to wipe from time to time. It's not as bad as some other shoes I've tried recently, like the Harden 8s or also the Harden 7s, which had crazy dust pickup. They also have a very loud squeak. Although I didn't notice the squeak as much on lateral movements, so side to side when I was stopping, I didn't hear the squeak as much, as you can also see on the video on screen and here. But when I was just going back and forwards, the squeak was really loud. I had some youth teams practicing next to me, and they were all looking over while I recorded the traction test of the G.T CUT free, and they were all looking over as to why they're so crazy loud. I'm not too sure about outdoor use of the traction pattern, or actually about durability of the traction pattern. The grooves are rather easy to move. They're not the thinnest grooves, but also not the thickest. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you should try them on in-store and get a look at them yourself before heading outdoors with them. I can't guarantee that it will hold up that well. This pair has a more solid outsole than the other pairs that released so far, the red and the green colorway. So maybe these are even a tad bit better than those with the translucent parts in the outsole. Let's move over to probably the most exciting part about this shoe, which is the cushioning setup. I already mentioned in the introduction that the 1s and 2s featured drop-in midsoles. The drop-in midsole of the 2 was even crazier, as they had 3 cushioning setups in the heel. It was Lunarlon, I'm thinking about Kobe's, a React drop-in with a heel zoom unit and full-length zoom strobel. Absolutely crazy cushioning setup, and the 1s had the React drop-in midsole and full-length zoom strobel. Felt very nice in both shoes, and the Zoom X feels even better. If I had to describe how it feels, it kind of feels like a comfortable trampoline, or walking on a comfortable trampoline, because it's very soft setup, and you still get a lot of spring back in the heel and in the forefoot. Plus the shank plate that's in the outsole really gives you a lot of responsiveness, a lot of feedback. Like you can see that already works quite well here. It's kind of like a springboard, and that's why I would say it feels like a cloudy or comfy trampoline. Impact protection is 10 out of 10, especially in the heel. It's really soft. You can see the compression on screen, and also in the forefoot, it's very comfortable. I think these will work for every position from 1 to 5, but they are a little bit better for quicker, slashier guards and wings than for your traditional back to the basket post-up big man. I'm not entirely sure how durable the Zoom X foam is going to be. I really liked the React foam in the PG6, for example, but these bottom out extremely quickly. So far, after a couple of sessions, I haven't noticed anything. They still feel just as good as the first time I wore them. But as I said, that was also the case with the PGs. They started to bottom out after maybe like 3-4 weeks. So I'm not there yet with the GT CUT freeze. I'll post updates on if that happens for sure on my other channels. So make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you like my videos. And as I said, durability could be an issue, but apart from that, that is probably my favorite cushioning setup that I've tried in 2024, along with the cushioning setup of the Anthony Edwards 1. I'm not sure which shoe I like better, and I know that it's early in 2024, but between these two, I think that's going to be the contenders for shoes of the year, at least through a long part of 2024. I know that Way of Weight 11 is coming out, maybe the LeBron 22 is coming out, some more Kobe's are going to release, but just for new releases, the GT CUT 3 and the Anthony Edwards 1 are amazing. Up to a couple of days ago, I would have said Anthony Edwards, hands down, best shoe release in 2024. But now that I've played with these, they feel just as good, maybe even better. I'm not entirely sure yet. I need to play with them more and see how, especially the durability of the foam holds up. But apart from that, these feel amazing on foot. And the cushioning setup is the biggest advantage and biggest upgrade, in my opinion, also over already very good cushioning setup with the GT CUT 2s. But this feels just way more comfortable, way bouncier, and it's also lighter and not as high off the ground as the GT CUT 2 was. Moving on to support, which was also a big issue on the GT CUT 2, as they had that tongue that wasn't connected to either side, and they were crazy high off the ground. As I mentioned, 3 cushioning setups in the heel, 2 in the forefoot. You were really, really high above the ground when playing, which made it a little bit unstable. And with the GT CUT 3, I didn't have that impression at all, as the Zoom X foam is really responsive, really bouncy, and you're still pretty low to the ground for such a soft cushioning setup. And you also have some nice support features alongside the upper and on the inside of the shoe. For starters, we have this little plastic outrigger / shank on the side where your pinky toe is. It just helps keep your foot on the footpad on hard cuts and lateral movements. It didn't pinch into my pinky toe at all, and I have, as I said, very wide feet, so I think you also should be good with wider feet on the GT CUT Freeze. And you also have flywire cables integrated into the upper and connected to the lacing system, similar to the cables that were used in all the Kobe models. And they also help keep your foot in place on the footbed, which is very, very nice in my opinion, because something that ruins a lot of nice shoes, for example, the GT Hustle 2, is if they don't have nice support. On these, my foot is moving out over the footbed a lot, which is not happening here at all. And the lacing system really keeps you locked in. There's no heel slippage. We have an internal TPU heel counter as well, so you have good ankle and heel support as well. And we also have a shank plate. It's a plastic shank. It's not carbon fiber. Sadly, for a €200 / $190 shoe, you could expect maybe more premium materials like carbon fiber that's used on the Way of Weight 10 lows that also retail for $200, for example. But it still gets the job done, as I showed you before already. Very bouncy, a lot of spring back, and not as easy to bend. And as you know, I don't like shoes that are easy to bend or that flex a lot, because in my opinion, that's just an indication of bad support. They can withstand some force and can give back some force. They are not meant to be worn at a high level on the court. That's just my personal opinion. I know a lot of you guys like when shoes flex a lot. I just prefer stiffer and more firmer setups. Moving on to the materials of the GT CUT 3, that's also a huge upgrade compared to the 2s. And we're going back to the materials that were used on the 1s, as we have a super lightweight and soft, breathable, comfortable upper all around the shoe. What I'm a huge fan of, and which is my favorite aspect about the materials, is how much padding we have on the tongue. It's really, really comfortable. It even seems like there's some air inside. I know that might sound weird, but if you press it, there's not much material, right? So it feels like if you press, there's some air coming out actually. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it feels very, very comfortable. Also great for me because I play with ankle braces. So that helps protect my feet from pinching. And we also have a lot of padding here in the heel area. Not as much as in the tongue, but still a very, very comfortable ride. And as I said, the materials, especially this part here in the forefoot, is very, very comfy on foot. It confirms to your feet extremely well. You can poop with them right out of the box. They don't need any braking time, at least that was the case for me. And the materials are also extremely lightweight. They are way lighter than GT CUT 2 and also lighter than the GT CUT 1. And they feel amazing on foot. For the weight, this is a size 14, so there it's going to be a higher weight than your usual shoes. Just keep that in mind. We have 429 grams / 15.15 ounces, which is a pretty good weight for a high-performing, great cushioned basketball shoe. Something I forgot to say about the insole of the GT CUT 3, obviously it's not a drop-in midsole anymore like the ones and the twos, but it's actually a little bit like a custom orthotic insole. I just noticed it because we got done practicing, I put them off and I saw that they actually go up a little bit on the inside of your foot, so they have a little bit more arch support than other shoes. I also noticed it while practicing and I thought, damn, I actually wanted to put that into the review and I forgot about it. I also put some close-ups so you can see what I'm talking about, but they're very, very nice if you have flat feet and if you need that extra support in your arch. That being said, are they worth $200 in my opinion, or 200 euros or $190 in my opinion? If you have the money, they are definitely worth it, as traction performance is top tier. The cushioning is probably the best on the market right now if it holds up and if it's durable over time. The materials and the support features are also there. So if you have the money, these are definitely a top tier shoe, and I, as a professional player, can highly recommend them. They've played themselves into my current favorite hoop shoes quicker than any other shoe I've tried, maybe apart from the AE1s. They feel amazing. I love playing with them. A really, really fun shoe to play in as well. Very bouncy, very soft, very responsive, good traction, good support. You really can't go wrong with the GT CUT 3. That's it for my review of the Nike GT CUT 3. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, and see you next time for another performance review on my channel.